Liverpool transfer news live. Luis Diaz €75 million deal, Alexander Isak stance, Darwin Núñez latest. Hello and welcome to YNWE Transfer News, your ultimate source for all Liverpool FC transfer news. Our first news is this. Liverpool's preparations for the Premier League season continued on Saturday afternoon as they faced Serie A outfit AC Milan in Hong Kong. But despite the Reds falling to a 4-2 defeat at the Kai Tak Stadium, there were several impressive performances that will encourage head Arne Slot. Luis Diaz, however, was left out of the matchday squad against the Italians as he continues to be linked with a move away from the Premier League champions. Earlier this month, Liverpool rejected a bid worth £58.5 million from Bayern Munich for the forward, who has 2 years remaining on his current deal at Anfield. Reports over the weekend suggested the Bundesliga giants are set to make a second offer for Diaz in the coming days. Elsewhere, speculation continues over Alexander Isak's future at Newcastle United after he was left out of their squad for the pre-season tour of the Far East. Isak, 25, has made it clear to the Magpies that he wants to leave St James Park this summer, with Liverpool reportedly his preferred destination. Luis Diaz to leave Liverpool. Luis Diaz is closing in on a move away from Liverpool after a deal was agreed with Bayern Munich. The Colombia international has been granted permission to leave the club's pre-season training camp after recently landing in Japan. A deal worth €75 million, £65.5 million, has been agreed between Liverpool and Bayern, and the forward is now poised to leave Anfield this summer. Alexander Isak verdict. Liverpool have been sent a message about the recent links of a potential move for Alexander Isak. The Newcastle United striker is a player of interest to the Reds, with speculation about his future at St James Park continuing to swirl as the summer transfer window goes on. Amid the rumours and uncertainty, former Liverpool striker Stan Collymore has weighed in on the chances of the Reds signing Isak. If you enjoyed the video, please hit the like button and subscribe to the channel. Eddie Howe issues Isak update. Newcastle boss Eddie Howe has issued an update on Wanderway striker Alexander Isak. The Sweden international is currently in England while the rest of the Newcastle squad are in Singapore for their pre-season tour of the Far East. Howe confirmed after their friendly against Arsenal on Sunday that there is no chance the player will join up with the rest of the squad next week. Arne Slot drops subtle transfer hint amid Liverpool's defensive woes. Liverpool manager Arne Slot has offered a telling insight into his current defensive predicament, hinting that reinforcements at centre-back may be imminent. The Reds, fresh off a title-winning campaign under Slot's leadership, have enjoyed a bold summer in the transfer market, yet defensive depth remains a growing concern. Defensive cracks emerge in pre-season tests. During Liverpool's 4-2 pre-season defeat to AC Milan in Asia, the fragility of their back line was laid bare. With Joe Gomez sidelined through injury once again, and Jarell Quansah now plying his trade at Bayer Leverkusen, only Virgil van Dijk and Ibrahima Konaté remain as fit senior centre-backs. That shortage forced Slot to turn to makeshift solutions, deploying Kostas Tsimikas and Ryan Gravenberch at centre-back in the second half. The result? A disorganized defensive unit that conceded 3 goals after the break, a stark reminder of the lack of natural cover in that area. Slot addresses centre-back situation. Speaking candidly after the match, Slot acknowledged the departure of Quansah and subtly revealed Liverpool's intentions in the transfer market. While maintaining a measured tone, his comments suggested action is likely. "I don't think we have a concern at centre-back. Ryan showed he can play that position, he did it as well although we favour him as a number 6. Wada Endo can play there. So we have enough options. But it is true that Jarell Quansah left, and we haven't replaced him yet. There's little to interpret here other than the need for reinforcement." Slot may express confidence in the versatility of his midfielders, but relying on emergency solutions across a 50-plus game season is a strategy unlikely to hold up. Mark Guéhi deal edges closer. The name on most people's lips is Mark Guéhi. The Crystal Palace defender has been heavily linked with Liverpool throughout the window and, as previously reported, has already agreed personal terms with the club. All that remains is for the two clubs to settle on a transfer fee. Given the circumstances and the evident gap in depth, that process may now be accelerated. With the Premier League season less than 3 weeks away, the urgency to act has undoubtedly increased. Transfer hint not lost on fans. Slot may not have declared his intent in bold letters, but the implication is unmistakable. Liverpool's current squad, while brimming with attacking talent and midfield energy, lacks the central defensive depth required to navigate a demanding campaign. While he remains outwardly calm, Slot's comments serve as a timely reminder that successful squads are built not just on star names, but also on depth and durability. Liverpool look poised to address that gap, and Guehi's potential arrival could offer both quality and long-term security. Luis Diaz leaves Liverpool training camp after £65.5 million transfer breakthrough. Luis Diaz is leaving Liverpool's pre-season tour in Tokyo after the Reds agreed a £65.5 million deal with Bayern Munich to sell the one-away Colombian. Diaz, 28, has been given permission to leave the club's training camp in Japan to seal a move to the German Giants, which has been 12 months in the making. The Reds' number 7 has been pushing for a move to Munich after informing the Reds hierarchy that he wants to leave this summer. His decision came after the club refused to enter contract negotiations. Diaz and his representatives have been after a new contract for over a year, believing him to be comparatively underpaid on Merseyside, having still been on the same basic terms since arriving on Merseyside in a £37 million move from Porto in January 2022. Diaz had initially hoped to stay at the club, where he was an important figure in last season's Premier League triumph. But Kop bosses had been unwilling to open discussions over an improved deal, given he still had 2 years remaining on his contract, a decision that led to frustration with Diaz and his representatives, and duly saw them pushed to depart. Diaz missed Liverpool's 4-2 defeat in a friendly with AC Milan on Saturday as they continued their pre-season tour of Asia. Arne Slot confirmed post-match that Diaz was absent due to his uncertain future but insisted that he's been training well. Following the loss against Milan, Slot was asked if both the 28-year-old and teammate Darwin Núñez's absences were linked to potential transfers. In Lucho's situation it was, yeah, the Liverpool boss told reporters. There are a lot of rumors around it lately and I cannot go into that. But he is training really well with us and we have decided, for now, not to play him yet. In Darwin's situation, he has trained really well also and played a few good games for us already this preseason. He was injured so we didn't want to take the risk, and it was also the same with Wataru Endo, trained with us all week but we didn't want to take a risk with him either. Liverpool rejected an opening bid from Bayern worth £58.5 million last week. But Vincent Kompany's side have been determined to sign Diaz and are now set to get their man. Bayern made an improved offer of £65.5 million over the weekend, which Liverpool have now accepted. Bayern boss Kompany spoke to Diaz during a recent video call and outlined his plans for Diaz. The German Giants have been desperate to sign a forward after missing out on top target Florian Wirtz, a race won by Liverpool, and having lost both Leroy Sane and Thomas Muller this summer on free transfers. They are also facing a considerable period without Jamal Musiala due to injury. Diaz will depart Anfield having scored 41 goals in 148 appearances for Liverpool. Liverpool's Alexander Isak's plans revealed as Luis Diaz heads for Bayern Munich. Liverpool are reportedly preparing to make a formal offer for Newcastle United striker Alexander Isak, with the Reds said to have agreed a deal with Bayern Munich for the transfer of Luis Diaz. Bayern will allegedly pay €75 million, £65.5 million for Diaz, who is expected to pen a 4-year contract at Allianz Arena, with the Colombia international set to become one of the biggest outgoings of this summer's transfer window. According to journalist Craig Hope, the sale of Diaz will open the door for Liverpool to make a formal offer for Isak. Hope claims that Newcastle are expecting an official approach from the Premier League champions for Isak, who has allegedly informed the Magpies that he wants to leave during this summer's transfer window. The striker has not travelled to Asia with his teammates for the club's preseason tour, and Newcastle head coach Eddie Howe has insisted that there is no chance of him linking up with the squad in the coming days. Isak to Liverpool, Reds planning formal bid. Al Hilal are believed to be willing to pay £130 million for Isak, in addition to offering him a salary of £600,000 a week tax-free, which would make him one of the best-paid players in world football. However, the 25-year-old is not believed to be interested in leaving European football at this stage of his career, and Liverpool are regarded as the heavy favourites for his signature. Chelsea and Manchester United have also been linked, but the former have already signed 2 forwards this summer and are currently looking to strengthen other positions, while the latter cannot afford a deal for the Swede. Liverpool's interest in Isak, at least this summer, looked to have ended when a deal for Hugo Ekitike was secured, with the attacker making the move to Anfield from Eintracht Frankfurt. However, a switch to Merseyside is seemingly very much on the cards for Isak. How much would Liverpool need to pay for Isak? Liverpool have already broken the all-time British transfer record this summer, bringing in Florian Wirtz from Bayer Leverkusen in a deal that could eventually be worth £116.5 million. However, it is extremely likely that will be broken again, as Newcastle are thought to want at least £120 million for Isak, while the overall package could be closer to £150 million. The Swede is regarded as one of the best strikers in world football, having starred for the Magpies since making the move from Real Sociedad in the summer of 2022. Isak has scored 62 goals and registered 11 assists in 109 appearances for Newcastle in all competitions, including 27 goals and 6 assists in 42 outings for the Magpies during the 2024-25 campaign. Rodrigo rejected by Arsenal after salary request. Gunners turn attention to other players. Real Madrid's Rodrigo had been a matter of interest for many big sides this transfer window. One of the biggest interested names, according to reports, had been Liverpool, who were desperate to replace their Colombian forward Luis Diaz. The 28-year-old probably heading out of Liverpool this season. Previous reports suggested that the defending Premier League champions are looking forward to sealing a swap deal between Luis Diaz and the Brazilian forward of Real Madrid. Since both of the players were valued at a similar price, it should have been a smooth deal. Arsenal rejected Rodrigo's wage demand. But after Liverpool turned their attention to Alexander Isak, it looks like their interest in Rodrigo has faded. The recently completed transfer of Hugo Ekitike from Eintracht Frankfurt, and reports also suggest that Alexander Isak has recently handed in a transfer request to Newcastle United, and he wants to go to Liverpool. Arsenal have signed Martin Zubimendi for £55 million. After Liverpool went out of this transfer saga, Arsenal were reported to be in it, and they were trying to seal the transfer of the Brazilian forward as soon as possible. They have already made a number of big signings this season, but they are also desperate to sign a quality forward. Liverpool are also reported to be interested in Rodrigo. Last season, they had been excellent, but one thing they missed badly was a quality goal-scoring forward. None of the Arsenal players could manage double figures in terms of scoring goals. A prolific forward can definitely fix a lot of issues for the Premier League runner-ups. Check out Barcelona and PSG giving competition Real Madrid for Ibrahima Konate here. According to reports from The Telegraph, Arsenal have recently inquired about Real Madrid forward Rodrigo, as the Brazilian international was also willing to move to England, holding out for Arsenal. But the weekly wage he requested was instantly denied by the Gunners. The exact figure of the wage was not revealed, but he earns €250,000 per week at Real Madrid. Thank you for watching. Like and comment. Subscribe.